Welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update, hosted by the York Group of Downing-Frye Realty. Our show will bring you the most up-to-date information on the local real estate market, presented by leading experts in the field.
Hi, and welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update. I'm Michael York of the York Real Estate Group, and today we're joined by our host, Jim York, and his guest, Don Ross Jr., President of Ross Title and Escrow.
Thank you, Michael, for the introduction. Well, Don, for the viewers that haven't seen us before, okay, just tell them a little bit about yourself.
I'm a local attorney, member of the bar since 1981. I have my master's in taxation. I've been the attorney for Downing-Frye Realty for over 25 years. I own part of the company. I have my own title company, Ross Title and Escrow, my own law firm. We are located at the corner of 6th Avenue North and 41 on the west side. 8 employees. They've been with me 30, 20, 10 years, mostly a family unit. Do a significant volume of closings, see a lot of different things. Hopefully we do a decent job.
You do a great job. You help our clients, and everybody's been happy for over, I don't know how many years. It's been a long time.
Losing track, Jim.
So let's just talk about with representing buyers, okay? What are the different ways we can represent a buyer?
Well, this is a concept that a lot of folks just don't get. And the customers who come into the state, you know, they treat it differently in different states. A lot of states have dual agency with a fiduciary duty. You owe an actual fiduciary duty to both sides. So that's not uncommon with other states in this country. Florida has a statute. It's part of Chapter 475, which regulates realtors, salespeople, real estate schools, and appraisers. And they have a particular statute, and they actually have the forms in this statute on the 3 types of relationships you have. You have single agent, you have transactional agent, and then you have the no brokerage relationship notice. It only applies to residential transactions. It does not apply to realtors who work for developers. So, and when you get into the statute, it's kind of interesting because the way it's phrased, and I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me, it doesn't apply to realtors who work for a single owner because it's presumed the buyer will understand that that realtor works for the single owner. Right. Which, it emphasizes, I guess, why the buyer needs their own realtor.
That's right.
To me, when I read that, it's, I mean, obviously the buyer needs their own realtor. So you have transactional, you have single agency, and you have no brokerage relationship at all.
So let's go over each one.
Well, the duties are actually helpful. I mean, I know this bores a lot of realtors to tears, but the most important duty are the transactional agent. And most realtors are transactional.
That's right, exactly.
The customers are customers. There's no fiduciary duty. You have to be honest and fair. You have to account for whatever money you get from whichever party. You're supposed to use skill and care and diligence in what you do. And you're supposed to disclose all facts that might affect the value of the property that's not readily observable to the buyer.
Right.
You know, it's got to be not readily observable to the buyer. You got to present offers and counteroffers timely, which sometimes I've had realtors be threatened with real estate, with a lawsuit, because they might have delayed in presenting a counteroffer.
Right. So
you really want to get that counteroffer in quickly, unless your customer in writing tells you, hold on to it. I'm going to sleep on it. I'm going to talk to my wife. I'm going to let the other side sweat a little bit. So they can actually tell you, hold on to the offer or the counteroffer, and you do what you're told.
Exactly.
So that's your transactional agent. You have the limited confidentiality is very helpful. You're supposed to tell both sides pretty much everything, except you can't say the motivation of either side. You can't say how low the seller will come in their price, their list price. You can't say how high the buyer will come. And if they have any special considerations that they ask you to keep confidential, you're not supposed to say that either. Now, from my perspective, It's very helpful when I get a realtor call me and say, I just found this thing out and the owner doesn't want me to tell the other side. And it's something that could get the realtor in trouble, that they'll be sued over. It could jeopardize their license.
Right.
You know, they've had problems with their roof forever and they don't want us to say a word.
Right.
And I can use this limited confidentiality in the transactional agency definition in the Florida statutes to persuade the owner that they have to tell the other side. I mean, we'd love to be loyal to you, but if they don't, this realtor can lose his or her license.
That's right.
I mean, it's a big deal. So knowing that it's there, I think for realtors is probably the most important part of the transactional agent part. You're a facilitator under the statute. You're serving both sides. You owe duties to both sides.
That's right.
Yes, and this gets you out of that awkward spot of the owner or the buyer asking you to keep something secret that you really shouldn't be.
Right.
Because it's your license and your reputation that's on the line. And then you can add to that any additional requirements the owner or the buyer might have added to the transactional agent relationship. They can add extra stuff. And it's just part of the form.
Part of the form. How about no brokerage relationship?
No brokerage relationship is, it's very simple. It's, you know, you got to be honest and skillful.
Same thing.
You got to account for all funds. And there was one more, honest, skillful, account for all funds, and act in good faith. That's basically
And
it.
how about single?
That's scary. That's your fiduciary relationship. There's 8 parts to it. Honest and fairly, you got to be loyal. So I see this more with high-end deals or large tracts of land where the owner of the $40 million home or the buyer who wants to buy 400 acres wants you to be just his or hers. They don't want you to be transactional.
Right.
If they tell you something, they want total confidentiality, not partial.
Right.
They want you to be loyal, which means you can't present this proposal to any of your other leads that you might have. It's just them. You have to obey. I mean, that's one of the crimes. Assuming it's legal,
Right.
you're supposed to obey them, which cracks me up a little bit because that wasn't in my wedding vows.
Right.
You know, but it's here in the single agency. And again, you got to account for funds, you got to use care, you got to present all offers or counter offers timely, unless directed otherwise again. Because sometimes strategically you want to make somebody wait, because you don't want to seem too eager. So the owner might tell you, well, wait before you present that counter offer. This is not the best time to do that. And disclose everything. They want total disclosure, not just disclosing facts that affect the value of the property. So single agency, high-end deals, very rare. You're presumed to be transactional unless stated otherwise. The disclosure requirements are for residential property. There's no disclosure requirement if you're just doing a mundane open house and you're not getting into confidential information, or if you're at a cocktail party and somebody just asks, how much is that house listed for? What's the square feet? You're not getting any confidential information. Or if you work for a developer, the buyers are presumed to know that realtor is loyal to the developer.
Well, Don, I think you've explained that very well, and I think there's always been a lot of questions about how you represent a buyer or how they're represented, and especially developers. I mean, not to pick on them, but you should have an agent work there when you're with a developer. They think you're not doing anything, but
even if
they're paying us too. So.
Yeah, but even if you get a realtor who does nothing, it costs the buyer $0. So get somebody who's good.
Yep.
And use them.
I agree with it. Well, thanks a lot for coming on the show, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thinking of buying or selling a home in Naples, Marco Island, Bonita, or Estero, Florida? Think of the most experienced York Real Estate Group, associated with the #1 brokerage in Southwest Florida, Downing Fry Realty, which produces yearly real estate transactions of over $1 billion. Jim, Michael, and Morgan make up the York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty, with over $275 million in sales transactions, along with offering over 25 combined years' experience in the local market. The Yorks can offer the experience and trust you need in a Realtor. Call them today at 239-273-6727 or visit their website at www.naplesyorkrealestate.com.
Looking for a real estate closing agent in Southwest Florida? Ross Title and Escrow has over 25 years experience and has closed over 20,000 residential real estate transactions. Donald Ross Jr., president of Ross Title and Escrow and a practicing attorney in the state of Florida with a degree in taxation, is here to service your needs. Call Mr. Ross or one of our 4 closing agents for a free consultation today.